Welcome everybody, my name is Virani, co-founder of Step 2 Real Estate. Today we have a special guest, Shamez Virani, President of Centre Court Developments. Welcome Shamez.
Thank you for having me.
So we're going to talk about a really exciting development in the Vaughan Metropolitan Centre that you guys are going to launch,
Yes.
Transit City. But before we get into that, I just want to get some background for our viewers that don't know you quite well regarding Centre Court Developments and your role with them.
Yeah, so Centre Court is a relatively young company. We're about 7 years old, founded by Andrew Hoffman, who prior to founding Centre Court was the CEO of a very large real estate company here in Toronto. And when Centre Court was created 7 years ago, it was really with the focus of being the premier high-rise residential developer in the city. We wanted to start by focusing on the downtown core and starting with the philosophy really of developing high-density high-rise projects in close proximity to transit and major infrastructure and major amenities. And we started the business by really focusing on the downtown core. So as you know, you've been involved with our projects really from day one. You've seen kind of the evolution of our company over the last 7 years from a new entity in the market when we first started to today one of the largest, most active high-rise condo development firms in the city. And we've had an unbelievable progress over the last few years of actually delivering on some of our first few projects. So Peter Street condos, Karma condos, Index condos, and Core condos, we've delivered all four of those projects, nearly 2,000 units, just in the last couple of years alone. And what we've seen through that experience is, for us, our view on development is that many of your clients we view as our partners in the project. If we're successful by your clients, who we view as our partners, we're going to be successful long term. And it's a really great feeling to look back on those four projects that I just mentioned that we recently completed and to see how well investors and your clients have done in those projects. It's really helped us spur our growth into the next chapter of Centre Court, which is really now to take all the lessons and the great experiences we've had in downtown Toronto and find new opportunities that offer the same proximity to major infrastructure, proximity to major amenities, and really to have a focus on expanding beyond just the downtown core. And as you mentioned, we're very actively involved in bringing a project to market in Transit City, which we've partnered up with Smart REIT and 100 acres of development land in the heart of the Vaughan Metropolitan Centre, where we're really excited to, in a few weeks, bring to market the first project, the first residential component of that project. And for many who have followed us as a company, and even for us as a company, the decision to move up to Vaughan and to launch this project was it's a major decision for a company that's been focused really on the downtown core. And to answer sort of the common question I'm getting as to what really motivated you to make the way up to Vaughan and to launch Transit City, I can say it's really the creation of a new downtown. The thing that's really exciting about the Vaughan Metropolitan Centre, and in particular the 100 acres that Smart REIT owns in the heart of the Vaughan Metropolitan Centre, where Transit City is specifically located, first and foremost is the transit infrastructure. And the name Transit City is really derived from the amount of transit infrastructure that is in a very small area surrounding the site for our first project. Right. Starting with obviously the first major subway extension in Toronto in almost a decade. This new subway station, which is the last subway station on the TTC line, or the first depending on where you look, is going to be located just at the doorstep of Transit City, opening in just a matter of months. And I know when we saw you there a couple of weeks ago, you got a chance to see the progress firsthand. That's an unbelievably exciting element to have right at your fingertip, because at the end of the day, in a city like Toronto, you're only as connected as you are via subway and via transit. So we've got the TTC subway infrastructure there. Immediately adjacent to our site, in addition to the TTC infrastructure, we have the York Regional Bus Terminal, which is going to be a bus terminal that takes travelers that are coming in and off of the subway platform to all areas of the York region. That's also opening in a matter of months, is currently under construction. In addition to that, we've got the Viva high speed transit on Highway 7. Yes. That's going east and west. That's going to be a bus approach to get east and west in the city. And then on top of that, you're right at the 400. So between the fact of the subway, the bus terminal, the Viva line, and the 400, you're really in the heart of a transit nexus. And if you look and you zoomed out of out of the Vaughan Metropolitan Centre and looked at it on a sort of a broader basis. What's really interesting is it lies at the heart of the entire GTA. So I know when we look at downtown projects, we often talk about proximity to downtown amenities, but if you take a GTA focused lens, the Vaughan Metropolitan Centre and Transit City sits at the heart of the GTA. So whether you want to go east, whether you want to go west, north, south, whether you're going to Pearson, whether you're going down to ACC, whether you're going over to Brampton, wherever you want to go in the GTA, our tagline for the project is you're 43 minutes from everywhere.
Right.
So that really has spurred the idea of Transit City. There's a lot of exciting elements, which I know we'll talk about here in this program. But really, the most important thing about Transit City, and the thing that drew us to this project and got us excited about it, was the amount of investment that's been made in transit infrastructure in the area. And it's like nothing you've seen in Ontario, other than really what you see down in Union Station with the transit infrastructure there. So we're incredibly excited to be center ice relative to all that activity.
One of the things that I'm really excited about is that the first project that I sort of got into working with you guys was Peter Street. I was across the street selling the competition, but yet there was lineups at Peter Street with different agents and clients wanting to buy. And my partner Jolly and I, we went across the road, we met Andrew, and he showed us around the sales centre, showed us a few of the plans. One of the things that we were really excited about is how you were able to utilise these floor plans, make them very efficient.
Yeah.
And actually somebody for the first time that actually listened to what the purchasers wanted in regards to amenities. And the 4 or 5, 6 projects that you've done, they've all been sold out. If you look at Index, look at Karma, you look at Axis Condos we just did.
Yeah.
How are you able to keep that happening?
Firstly, we're in a very healthy market. There's obviously a very healthy underlying factors here in terms of the demographic shifts to Toronto. And that's kind of the macro picture, but really kind of zoning in on why we've been able to outperform our competition in many of our projects and achieve the great results that we have. I think it's because we listen. I think it's because we spend time talking to you, talking to people who are in similar roles as you, talking to your clients, understanding from them what they need in terms of suite design, and letting that be the driving principle behind how we develop a project. So I often say, and I've talked to you about this in the past, we design our buildings from the inside out. There's different philosophies amongst developers as to how you should develop a project, but for us, it starts with the suites. That's what people are buying. That's what people are paying a top dollar for. That's the experience that they have every single day. So when we started, Transit City, just like when we started every other project, we did a very deep dive into understanding what is it that the market is looking for in terms of suite mix in this location. What are the types of suites that are needed in the market? Where is there a shortfall of inventory? Whether they're end users or investors, where are they going to see, value in terms of a suite mix? And something that's really interesting that you and I have talked about in the past is what the market is looking for today versus what it was looking for 5 years ago.
Exactly.
And we've heard that people are looking for larger suites, looking for 2-bedroom suites. We've even got a 3-bedroom suite on our typical floor at Transit City. And this is the first project that we've done where the majority of our suites are 2-bedroom or larger suites. 2-bedroom plus den, 2-bedroom plus study, and a 3-bedroom. We've really listened to the market and understanding what is desired in the VMC, what is desired at this location, and what we've heard is a larger portion of 2 bedrooms and slightly larger suite sizes, and that's what the market is looking for. So, as developers, the thing that has made Center Court successful is constantly adapting to where the market wants the product to be and listening. And then taking that feedback and starting with a floor plate on the inside, starting with suite mixes that matter, that sort of achieve the requirements of the market, and then we design the building around it. So I think, to your point, something that we've really spent a lot of time and painstaking detail on is making sure we get the suites right. You've seen many floor plans that are, 2 floor plans that are, say, 700 square feet, and one has long, lanky, awkward corridors, and the other is all usable space.
Yeah.
Really, in terms of usability, that 700 square foot unit that's got the efficient design, no wasted space, is so much more valuable to the end user, to the rents that you can derive, to the pricing you can sell it for. Although they have the same square footage, this, the more efficient unit is the one that gets far more velocity and volume and demand. So we're recognizing that, and we spend a lot of time designing our suites to meet what is the most efficient, usable, livable design that's possible. And I think in a market like the GTA condo market, where the investor and the buyer is a very astute individual and knows what they're looking for and compares, one thing that's made us successful is the ability to create suites that are en masse a very, very attractive mix and very attractive unit layouts.
Another thing I'd like to share with our viewers is the amenities. Like we have like 100,000 square feet of amenities, but we've tied in with the YMCA.
Yeah.
Could you touch on that and then the 5-star branding?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I'd start by saying we've got a different philosophy at Center Court relating to amenities than I think a lot of the market does. Historically, amenities have been sort of a thing that you put into a building to satisfy the municipality that requires you to put in some area of common space for the building. And historically, you've seen the same stock of amenities put into every building, a party room, a theater room, a servery, the same assortment for every single building all across the city. And I find that to be, a bit disingenuous in terms of really thinking about how you can use amenities to drive value, to drive livability, to drive quality of life for the resident. Our objective is to use that space that we're allocating for amenity space, for common areas for the building, to really drive higher values in the building, to really drive higher rents, not so much for us, but for our purchasers who in the future at some point will sell their unit or rent their unit. We really want to think about what can we do in terms of an assortment of amenities in any given building that speaks to what the market is in that location, but more importantly, that creates an environment that the residents will use regularly. The best test of amenities is, do people actually use them? Do people actually spend time in them, or do they collect dust? And all too often in this city, they collect dust. So we spend, in addition to the suite layouts, we spend a lot of time thinking about how we program the amenities and how we create amenities that really sell the building in a different way than what's out there. So in that vein, when we started Transit City, we've done two incredibly exciting things that as far as I'm aware, are sort of the first of their kind in the condo environment, and are things that I genuinely believe will make Transit City a destination address in the VMC, and will place it at a different level than some of the buildings that are completed or underway in the VMC. And the two things that we've done that really excite me are the Buka experience in our lobby, and as you mentioned, the YMCA arrangement with the Y. And just touching a little bit on both of those two.
Yep.
With the Buka arrangement in our lobby, what we were really going for and what we were really hoping to achieve is an experience that is consistent with a 5-star luxury hotel. When you stay at a 5-star luxury hotel, you find that the lobby becomes an extension of the suite. The lobby becomes an expansion of your living room, so to speak. It becomes an inviting environment from morning to afternoon to night, a place where you can start your day with the paper and a coffee and a snack and a pastry. You can come back in the middle of the day for a meeting with a client or with a colleague, and have a bite to eat, a small bite to eat, and kind of talk over that. And then in the evening can turn into an evening environment where you can meet friends or colleagues or family for a drink in the evening. And the environment that we've created at Transit City is an environment that is designed and programmed just like that. And we've been so fortunate to come to an arrangement with what I believe is the most high quality provider of food and service in the city, in King Street Food Company, who owns Buka, who owns Jacob Food Company, who owns some of the nicest, most renowned restaurant operations in the entire city of Toronto. And they're actually focused entirely today on downtown Toronto. They're going to take what's made them incredibly successful in the food and hospitality space in downtown Toronto and bring that experience up to Vaughan and bring it to the lobby of Transit City. So as I think about it, I think that if I lived in the building, or if my friends or family lived in the building, the lobby would be an environment where they would utilize daily. They would be there at least once a day to stop in, because it's such an inviting environment that becomes an extension of their living room, becomes essentially the living room for the building in the lobby. And given the transit infrastructure, we anticipate that the majority of our buyers are not going to own vehicles and are going to use the transit infrastructure in place, which means they will be coming in and out of their lobby every single day. So it will be an environment that they experience. So that's the lobby experience. The Second component is relating to sort of health and wellness.
Yes.
As a part of the master plan of the Smart Centers Place 100 acres, immediately adjacent to Transit City will be a new large mixed-use building that is going to house the headquarters for PricewaterhouseCoopers, the accounting firm. And in that same building, there's going to be a 100,000 square foot state-of-the-art YMCA facility that's going to have a pool, basketball courts, fitness facilities, a daycare, and in adjacent to that, a 10,000 square foot library. So when we realized the investment that was going into this development immediately next door to Transit City, we said there's a huge opportunity here for us to allow our residents, our owners of Transit City, to utilize the amenities that exist in the YMCA building. And by coming to a partnership with YMCA, we've now allowed for the residents of Transit City to, each unit will have a membership into the YMCA,
Yep.
so they will have access to these state-of-the-art facilities. And to me, that is an unbelievable offering to people who are going to own and rent in the building, because they're, in addition to a typical condo gym, which is, in comparison, to the typical condo gym that's 2,000 to 3,000 square feet, there's going to be 100,000 square feet of true state-of-the-art amenities with programming, all the classes that you would look for, all the programming that goes associated with new state-of-the-art YMCAs. So we think that this is another element that's really going to elevate Transit City to be something unlike any condo project we've seen in the GTA.
Correct me if I'm wrong, there's a daycare element in that too?
That's right, yes. There is a daycare element that's going to be a component. And in this city that we're in today, where there's going to be more and more families living in condominium units, including the suites that we've designed at Transit City, that's a huge amenity to have. Ask any parent that's trying to look for daycare today. It's very difficult to find a daycare, let alone one that's right next door to you.
Now, Transit City has one of the best locations within the Vaughan BMC. There's a central park and
Yes.
retail. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up. We were very fortunate to be invited to be a part of the broader Smart Centers Place 100 acres development a few months ago. And our partners at Smart Centers and Smart REIT have spent the last decade, if not longer, painstakingly planning a 100-acre master plan that is to be comparable to the best urban environments in the world. Not just in Toronto or in Canada, but in the world. The vision here is grander than anything we've ever seen before at Centre Court, and what really got us really excited about going up to Vaughan, and what made us really take the leap of faith and make the move into this new market, was the vision for the 100 acres, and the vision that the Smart REIT and Smart Centers team has brought to that 100 acres. And it all starts with the Central Park, which is a 9-acre park, which 9 acres is, it's tough to comprehend, but to take 10% of 100 acres of developable land and to say this has to be a park, which has been Smart Centers and Mitch Goldhar's vision from day one, is a tremendously bold and visionary move. It can't be understated. And this park is not just a green space, it is a programmed, world-class, state-of-the-art environment that is going to rival the best parks in the world. And it is being designed by Claude Cormier, who is one of the world's most renowned landscape architects. It's going to be a park, and as we unveil materials for Transit City and really share with your clients the vision for the broader master plan, you'll see some of these components which we're really excited to share in the weeks ahead. But in summary, what I can say is this 9-acre park, which will be developed as a part of the 100-acre master plan, is going to add an element of livability, of desirability, of truly world-class infrastructure and environment that is going to differentiate Smart Centers Place beyond anything that's happening in the VMC. And we're so fortunate to have been able to partner with the Smart REIT team and be a part of that vision. And this park is, as you'll see in the materials in the weeks ahead, is within a few-minute walk from Transit City's doorstep. So there's not really many environments in Canada that offer this sort of living experience with a park immediately adjacent, and that is a tremendous asset to the vision of what's going to happen in the 100 acres. As a result of that, there's a lot of other people, not just us, that have taken notice of what's happening in the Smart Centers Place land, and have gotten really excited. For the first time, I think in decades, there's been a true class AAA office building built outside of downtown Toronto, and that's the KPMG building, which is built and currently occupied, which again is really a stone's throw from the Transit City building. As a part of the broader vision, the Smart REIT development group was able to develop a building that, you've seen it, and I'd encourage anybody who's interested in Transit City to visit it. It's truly a world-class design, world-class materiality. It's got KPMG, which is a AAA tenant, the true professional office environment that you don't see anywhere but downtown Toronto. So what you're seeing is companies, including KPMG, Harley-Davidson, who recently signed a deal in that building, a couple of major law firms who are in there, and now the PwC building, which is a part of this YMCA building. What you're really seeing is AAA tenants, people who are running, high value add professional services, law firms, accounting firms, architecture design firms. They are really now realizing that the VMC, and specifically Smart Centers Place, is an environment that's going to be truly world class, and therefore they're willing to move their office environments into that node, and it's just going to continue to grow and grow and grow as we bring in Transit City and future residential phases. There's going to be more and more announcements around first class commercial environments there, retail opportunities that are going to come there. So there's a lot to be excited about, as I'm sure you're getting. But it's what's really exciting is it's just kind of like a snowball. As it grows and grows, it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And soon enough, we're going to have developed 100 acres. That's going to be, I'm convinced it's going to be the most important dense downtown environment outside of downtown Toronto. And that's saying a lot when you think about Yonge and Sheppard, Yonge and Eglinton, other markets. I really believe that the vision for the VMC, and more specifically the vision for the Smart Centers Place that Transit City is a part of, is going to elevate the VMC to levels that most people can't appreciate today.
Well, one of the things that I see is I went to the media event and I started doing some research, and the more I research it, the more I'm buying into it myself. And normally these types of things, developments with all the land infrastructure and planning, take decades and decades. But this has happened over a small space of time, where community level government, provincial and federal have all come together. Community has come together, along with private investment.
Yeah.
It seems to me like there's a lot of smart people that think it's a good idea, it sort of brought it all together at a faster pace. Your development is one of the first to be launched. I also realized that the KPMG actually won an award for one of the best.
It did, very recently. Yeah.
And the interesting thing about the park is, one of the things at the media event that Mitch had mentioned was that you can't have a community unless you have a heart in the community. The park becomes the heart, and it brings everybody together.
That's right.
So that aspect of it has sort of brought it to a little higher level with the amenities, etc. Now, when do we plan to launch?
We're 24/7 right now. The amount of anticipation and excitement is palatable. It's in the air. I can feel another incredibly successful launch ahead of us. So that encourages us to get everything in order as quickly as possible. Our sales center is under construction right now. We're putting our final touches together on our marketing materials and suite plans. But we're within weeks of launching, and certainly you and Jolly and your team will have a very important role to play in the launch of our project. But we're hoping that we'll be out in the next number of weeks, and we're really excited to share all of the materials, sometimes visuals, and some of the elements of the master plan really are only shared with images and with pictures, and we want to bring that all to light and share that with everybody, because for those that are lucky enough to get into Transit City and buy a unit in the first residential development that's going to be really spurring a lot of this great development that we've talked about here today. For those that are fortunate enough to get in, I really want them to understand all the elements that differentiate Transit City relative to a lot of the other projects that exist in the VMC. And there are a number of projects that exist in the VMC, and we understand that there's other options in the market. But I think when you boil it down to a relative comparison between Transit City and the other projects, you quickly realize there really is no comparison. There's no project that's going to have the proximity to the transit infrastructure that Transit City is. It's just impossible physically. We started with the best site in all of the VMC, so that there's nothing that's going to compare to that. None of the projects have the lobby experience with a Buka quality operator that's going to really elevate the building to have a sort of a 5-star hotel look and feel. The park is right at our doorsteps and will be something that will really matter in time, and proximity to that park will add a lot of value. Just look at places like New York City and Central Park and look at each block you get further and further away from the park, or each block you get further and further away from transit infrastructure. You see discounts in pricing, and that's because people do pay to be close to that. And then lastly, and one of the elements that really differentiates is the YMCA partnership. And if you imagine living in the building, whether you're an owner or an investor who's going to rent, you think about the value that adds. It has real tangible dollars. If you're renting it out to a tenant, they're, instead of paying $100 and $150 on gym membership, they're going to have it included as a part of their rent. So that in fact will allow you to charge greater rents. So I think that there's a lot of elements that get us really, really excited about this project. There's a lot of elements. We take a lot of pride in everything that we've done. Certainly all of our projects are, like babies to us, like children to us. We love all of them for individual reasons. But I can say definitively, there hasn't been a project that we've been involved in that has the number of elements that are as exciting, that have sort of as many differentiating elements as Transit City does. And it really excites us to bring it to market. We think that based on early feedback, the market is geared up, understands exactly what we're trying to do here, and is waiting for us to open the doors. To your question about when we're going to launch, I think we're going to have lineups and people knocking down the door, but it's an exciting time. It's an exciting project, and we're really pumped up about bringing it to market.
The reason why I asked that question about the launch was because since the media event, we've been getting calls from our clients non-stop.
That's nice to hear.
Yes, and people are very excited about it because, like I said, the more you research, you can't find a site with all of these elements in it. It's very hard to find that.
Yeah.
And so that's why people are geared up, pumped. Within 43 minutes you can be downtown Union Station, right?
And that's a true 43 minutes because you don't have to worry about traffic.
Right.
And you're going to get a seat on the subway too.
Yes,
She'll be the first stop.
Exactly. Yeah. So a lot of people are excited about that. On a note, from my point of view, the more I look into this site, I feel that Transit City will be probably one of the fastest selling sites, most successful sites for 2017. And on that note, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. Thank you.